Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new episode here with some pot limit OMA content, jumping immediately into the live action here, playing 4 tables on GGPoker. And if you guys like the content, then please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also check out PLOmastermind.com if you want to learn more about pot limit OMA. We're jumping immediately into it, 4 tables, so a lot of things will happen. Table number 4. Bottom right, we're going to make the call, king 8-4. Not an amazing hand, but I think it is okay. And on the flop, we're going to check. We flop a flush, bottom left, we're going to check back. And on table number 2, flopping a nut flush draw, we're going to go ahead and check in order to check call. Table 3, checking back turn again. And I will go for river value now. Table number 4, I'm going to go for a small bet. While on table number 2, do turn the 6. The 6 is definitely better for my range, I would say, because I will interact more with like 2 pairs, some straights from the big blind. So we can put pressure on that range my opponent has there. And we do take it down. I'm going to fold and king 5-4-3. Also a fold. Jack 7-3 is a little bit too marginal to open. I would raise it maybe with like 1 with a single suit without 3 of the same cards in my hand. And table number 3. It is a little bit close. I'm going to fold. I would call this one with the king high suit. Because the rake is pretty high in these games, you want to be quite careful with calling too many hands pre-flop. Today we flop trips, table number 4. I will start with a bet. And I will also bet on the turn. You can still get called by an overpair, by a queen, by flush draws. So I will now bet 140. And hope to get called. Fortunately, my opponent does fold. Table 2, ace, jack, 9-8, single. This hand is not strong enough. I would consider to call if I would be on the button in position. But out of position, you want to be quite a bit more careful there. And if you want to train your pre-flop ranges yourself, guys, want to get better practice, then this is a great opportunity for you. You can get access completely for free to PLO Trainer, the pre-flop range for exactly low stakes on GGPoker. Make sure to check it out if you're interested in that. There's a link below the video to sign up, create an account, and get started. Jack 7-7-6, table number 4. I'm going to fold. A little bit too disconnected. I would consider defending there. My hand would be stronger connected. And queen, jack, 8, deuce, double on the top right. I would call this hand a double-suited trash hand. In other words, it looks very playable because you are a little bit connected. You have 2 of the same suits. But overall, it's just way too marginal. That's what I would call a double-suited trash hand. Table number 3. I think the standard is to check. You could definitely bet here. And table number 1. This guy actually is quite loose. I'm going to not open raise that one. On the flush turn, table number 4, we're going to go ahead and check. Not an amazing turn, of course, bringing in the straight and the flush. But I will make a call. River is the jack. We're going to check, hope to get to showdown against Poker Sam, who does have a flush. And unfortunately, we lose that hand. Table 3, bottom left, similar type of hand. We do have the ace-high suit, though, this time, but still pretty marginal. So I'm going to fold that one. So the 10-10 hand at the bottom here, bottom right, I would consider betting the flop if I would have a little bit more backdoor equity, basically, with my hand. In other words, the playability is a bit better. Maybe a flush draw, a backdoor straight draw, like that kind of stuff. But this hand, if I bet, and 1 second, let me look into the top right. Gonna make the call. Gonna make the call. Not a great flop, not a great flop. Folding this one. Table 1. Easy stab on the flop with my ace of hearts. Table number 2, it's a little bit tricky. We have 2 pair. Yeah, I think I do have to fold it, unfortunately. And table 4, no connection at all to the board. I will start with a check. It's a very interesting turn. He bets large. We could raise, we could call. I think calling is the standard because he uses this large sizing. But it is definitely tempting. It is definitely tempting to go for it. Let's try it. Table 1, we're going to make the fold. We don't want to see the jam on table number 4. Look at this beautiful river. I think I'm going to go small. I think I will go small here. With the nuts. Table 3, bottom left. Easy squeeze with ace, queen, queen, 9. Single suited. Pretty bad flop, unfortunately. He's very short, but I still think that we should check. And if he pots, we're going to have to fold, unfortunately. And table 4, bottom right. Flopping a gutter. We are 3-way in position. Pretty tight, these 2 players. So I'm actually going to take a stab with the belief that because they are so tight, like they will not connect that well to this board. And on the turn, I will continuously bet. We pick up a flush draw. Or something like this. And it does work, and we do take it down. Very nice. Top left, ace-jack 10-7. This is a hand that we could consider 3-bet bluffing with, but this guy is super tight. Bottom left. So I think we can actually just fold this hand. I would call it for sure with the ace-high suit. But being a little bit tighter against very tight players, I think that's usually a good adjustment. Gonna defend top right, flopping a boat. Gonna give him the yellow attack. Top right. Gonna check. Underrepresent my hand there. Bottom left. Gonna go for a bet. Top right. For now, just gonna call the turn. Beautiful turn on bottom left. I think we're just gonna call there. He has the same hand. Bottom left, we're potting. And bottom right, we're folding now. Yeah, maybe it's a raise top right. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. And top left, he raises very small pre-flop. I'm gonna call. Like, my hand has a lot of potential with the jacks and like some of the straight runouts. We still have the spades, of course. And a beautiful flop on table number 4. In the meantime, we're gonna check table number 1. We have some showdown value at this point. Table 4, very small bet. Table 1, I'm just gonna call. He might have kings. Oh, look at this. 5, 4, 4, 3. Random hand. We do take it down. Ace 9, 6, 5. Triple, top right. A little bit too weak to open. And we do take it down, bottom left. Ace, queen, 9, 8, double. The big blind bottom left, very tight. I'm going to give him a color code. Like, this guy is a 16 VPIP, so we want to steal more against a player like him. But that hand was a little bit too weak, especially with the small blind in there as well. Top right. I checked. Um, bottom right. I'm gonna call once and then see. Top left, I'm gonna turn my hand now into a bluff. And top right, I'm gonna check raise bluff my hand, blocking the 5. And we do take it down. Bottom right now, I'm gonna fold. Top left, we river a straight. And we will win. What does he have? He has ace, 10, 9, 8. Wow. It's a pretty light call on the turn there. Bottom right, I'm gonna start with a bet. And top left, we flop top set, starting with a half pot size bet. Wow. We turn quads. Pretty hard to get value now. I'm gonna bet small, something like 5.5. Really forcing him to continue with kings and queens. Hence that he will not bet himself once I check, basically. And on the river, I will go small again. Bottom right, top set. Gonna try to induce something, but he doesn't bite. Gonna check again. Try to see if he turns anything into a bluff, which he's not. Top right. Beautiful turn. We pot, take it down. We pick up ace, ace, jack, 8. Let's see. Bottom left, open raising. This is a fine raise, especially with a couple of yellow players on the table. More fold equity pre-flop. And if we face a 3-bet table number 1, that is beautiful. Table 2, gonna call. Could sometimes even 3-bet. Table 3 could also be a 3-bet or a call. I think both really is fine. Table 1, the money will go in. With aces on king 6-3, and he has top pair. Top right, I'm gonna fold now. Okay, let's run it twice. We do win the first one. That's always good. Fortunately, he does win the second one. Pretty standard from both players. 3-bet from his side, and then call against my 4-bet. Top right. Check. Too weak, 3-way. Out of position. And we're going to check fold now against a pot size bet. Table 4, I do open raise. And on the flop, there is something to say for betting. Also something to say for checking. Pretty close, I would say. I'm going to go for a check. And then try to get closer to showdown now with my hand. three betting aces in the meantime. Interesting flop. Interesting flop. We could bet. We could check. Like this board definitely is quite good for him also. He has like a lot of two pair sets, some straights. Turn is a queen. I'm going to go for a pot size bet, wrapping ace 10 at this point. And bottom left, I'm going to squeeze king, king, 9, 8. He does call. That's not great. But I will pot the river again. Like, he can definitely have some sets in his range still. And bottom left, the money will go in. Unfortunately, he does call. He has ace, king, jack, jack. Wow. Okay. Nice call, sir. Nice call. Okay, let's take a look into this hand using PLO Trainer. This is a similar scenario. Small blind against middle position on king, jack, 9 with a flush draw. Now, on the flop, the out of position player is not betting very often, only 28% of the time. And that is because the range of the small blind has primarily a lot of aces in there, and aces don't necessarily perform great on king, jack, 9. And on top of that, the middle position player will have a lot of hands that connect strongly to this board because he open raises a tight range and then he calls against a 3-bet. So it's likely that he has like connectivity to the flop, and therefore we have to be careful as the out of position player. So a hand like ace, ace, 8, 6 with the nut flush draw is therefore going to be a check on the flop. Now what happens if we check and our opponent takes a stab? Are we then going to check call or check raise with ace, ace, 8, 6? This hand would be a check call on the flop. Let's go back because the flop goes check, check. Turn is the queen and the action is back on us. I decided to turn my hand into a bluff. Let's take a look into that. Ace, ace, 8, 6. First of all, on the top right, we do see that we're only betting 20% of the time with our range on the turn using a 2/3 pot bet sizing. Now keep in mind, if I bet for a larger sizing, which is what I did, I used full pot, the frequency should drop a little bit here. So we're betting less often. What about a hand like ace, ace, 8, 6 with nut spades? This hand is a pretty good candidate to now turn into a bluff on the turn. We block ace 10. And our showdown value is not amazing because it's quite likely our opponent at this point has a 2-pair hand, maybe even a set. So turning this hand into a bluff is somewhat reasonable. There's still a little bit of checking, and I think it is pretty close, but betting definitely is okay here. If I do bet my opponent, let's see what he is supposed to do. My opponent had ace, king, jack, jack. He has a pretty clear call on the turn versus my bet. And I think even against a pot-sized bet, this hand probably is still a call. And on the river, the out-of-position player is checking 34% of the time, betting 1/3 pot 12%, and betting full pot 53.6%. So if we're betting, primarily potting, and by potting, we basically say, we have the nuts here, we have ace 10, it's up to you. What are you going to do with like a set or a lower straight or a 2-pair hand? So we're putting our opponent into a very difficult decision there by saying that we have the nuts. If we look into our hand, ace, ace, 8, 6, with nut spades, we do see that this hand is not a bluff on the river. The reason is that we have spades here. Like spades on the river is not great. We want our opponent to have spades. And the reason is because we want him to fold, right? The more likely it is that he does have spades, the more likely it is that he is on a missed draw and therefore is folding. And therefore, a hand like ace, ace, 8, 6 is not a great bluff, so we should give up. It doesn't mean that on the turn our hand is not a bluff, right? On the turn it's actually a good bluff because we have blockers and equity still with the spades. But on the river things change once there is no card anymore coming basically and the hand is over. Now, if we look into aces and we focus on ace, ace that have spades in there and that don't have a 10, we see that we're only betting ace, ace without a straight 12% of the time. Now, if we have ace, ace without spades and without a 10, so we again have the blockers, now we are betting 73%. So we really want to bluff aces without spades And we really not want to bluff if we do have the spade. So that's something to keep in mind here. If we look into our opponent's response versus a pot size bet, and we use the strength buckets on the top right, which basically breaks down the range, it's pretty clear. We are calling almost always if we have a straight, and we are folding if we have a set, two pair hand, or one pair hand, or anything else basically. So we're really looking for calling down with a straight, which we have a lot at this point, 50% of the time. And other than that, we're pretty much looking to fold. So a hand like ace, king, jack, jack, therefore, is also going to be a fold. Yes, we have a set. Yes, we have the ace. But overall, we're going to run too often into a better hand by our opponent. And therefore, this hand should at least in theory be a fold. Now, if you believe that your opponent is over bluffing, which might be the case in my situation because I turn a hand into a bluff, which should not. And I think many players might do that. Then calling down against those type of opponents, like myself, for example, in this situation, might not be that bad of a play. And actually, this hand becomes a lot closer. If we look into the EV difference here, we do see that the value of folding is 1.2 big blinds better in theory than calling. And I think in reality, once your opponents start over bluffing by like 5 or 10%, like we're going to win back this money basically, and calling becomes more profitable basically than folding. So something to keep in mind. And now let's get back into the action. Bottom left, are we winning? I think we do. Nice. And bottom right, my opponent leads out big. We're going to call. And top left, going to check raise bluff the turn. He does fold. And on the bottom right, I bet flop. Get called. He leads out turn, and now he leads out river. We have a boat with queen 5. We're just going to call down. Here's a bluff. Nice. And we win a nice pot over there. Bottom left, I'm going to pot it after 3 betting. We have ace, ace, 10, 7 over pair, gutter, backdoor diamonds. We win the pot. Top left, flop a gutter and the aces. We're going to call against a large bet. And bottom right, kind of interesting. What do we want to do? I think we want to pot it. And top left, we call. We don't want to see this guy to jam. Yeah, this has been like he's gonna have a lot of like king 9, king 9 9 type of hands. And against those hands, we have, I mean, we have 4 straight outs and the aces. So we don't have enough basically to continue. So I think, unfortunately, we're going to fold. We also don't pick up the diamonds. It's a little bit unfortunate. But it is what it is. Table 2, this is a fold versus a 3-bet. Table 4. I'm going to pot it on table number 4. A little bit tricky with the king. Now that he calls. I'm going to bet again. Top left, easy check back. Bottom left, checking again. Now on the turn, top left, we're going to call. And bottom right, I mean, we're going to fold. This is what it is. Top left, fold. Bottom left, check back, ace, king. And we win against king, jack. Nice. And guys, if you are still here for the episode, and if you like this type of content, if you want to get better at PLO, then I do recommend you guys to check out the PLO Playbook by the PLO Mastermind, which is an event that we're running November 22, 23, and 24, later this month. You can sign up to that event completely for free. It is a free event. Click on the link below. And during that event, we're going to teach you everything about PLO, what it takes to become better, to become successful at it. And we're basically creating like a big event out of it. So it's completely for free. And on top of that, you do get free access to PLO Trainer as well to practice and get better at your pre-flop ranges. So make sure to sign up to the event if you are interested in taking your game to the next level. That's going to be it for today, guys. Hope you did enjoy the session. If you do so, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and also check out PLOmastermind.com if you want to learn more about Pot Limit Oma.